Welcome to Viviendo Life podcast number 9. We're number 9 today.
Number 9.
Number 9.
Welcome,
yeah, it's
everybody.
incredible. We're going to get to 10 already. That's going to be our 10th. I guess decade is only for years, right? It doesn't count for 10 episodes, right? Decades. Episodes. So anyways, welcome. Today we're going to be talking a little bit about pastoral stuff because that's what we know. And somebody said you must tell stories of things that you know and things that you're knowledgeable about, things that you've lived. So I think pastoral thing is just something we've been doing. I believe it's around this maybe this March or something that we're going to be in 10th year of Hispanic Ministries, Ministerio Hispano. Let's talk a little bit about that. One thing is, like, I remember we were giving advice to young couples, and she had showed up late. I was there first. Yo estaba ahí antes. And then you came in, and I was talking to the couple. I was like, hey, babe, here's the couple. Give them some advice. And what's the advice you gave them to the marriage couple?
Don't get married.
Don't do it. and I always remember that. And I'm like, yeah, so if somebody's looking to be a pastor, I'm going to say, don't do it. No, just kidding. Don't do it. No, just kidding. No, it's one of those things that I was recently at a teens conference, a young pastor conference, and the guy that stood up said, you guys are not normal. You're not normal people. You guys are abnormal people. The fact that you've decided to give your life up for service, para que diste tu vida en servicio a otros, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And that's a decision. Es una decisión, you know, to do that. And even like this podcast, like this podcast was a decision to start. And I feel like I just don't quit. I get, in a way, being terco, like that dog, he's very stubborn. he gets what he wants. Like he's just, because he's stubborn. If you throw a toy to him and you try to take the toy away from him, he won't let go. It's like, I'm not letting go for nothing. I'm holding on. And I feel like sometimes it's good to be like that in life. Sometimes you have to never give up. Do you consider yourself a quitter or somebody that will persevere and just go through it?
I guess it depends on the situation. Yeah.
What about the pastoral situation?
It depends on the situation. I think that if it's draining you have to ask God for guidance. I think you can take like a sabbatical maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's true. And I know a lot of muchos de los, esto no existe en el mundo hispano, because hablo siendo pastor en el mundo hispano, y in the English, it's totally different, completely different. Pero one of the things I think a lot of people ask is, well, in English church, they're talking about rest. They talk about rest a lot in the different churches, taking sabbaticals. That's good. Which just taking a break away from church, you know what I mean? And not from God, but from church. And the ministry thing. Like, I don't see ourselves doing that anytime soon, but it could be in the future for Spanish ministry. Now, I think a lot of people are interested in the topic. How do you know, like, the calling? How does it come over your life? And I guess I'll be the first to speak, and I'll just kind of give a little brief story of how the Lord called me to ministry, and then how you're like there apoyándome, always helping me. You're basically that God designed for this ministry along with me, right? And one of the things is being a pastor in America, it's absolutely not easy. No es fácil, because you have to juggle many things. One of the things you have to juggle is work, trabajo, secular.
Yeah.
Because aquí es muy difícil ser un pastor full-time, be a full-time pastor. So that's a challenge in itself. I think you and I both hemos establecido que somos pastores que no visitamos a la gente that much anymore. No. But we're going to clarify that. We're going to clarify that here in a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the way I want to clarify it is, yo siento que los pastores al comienzo del ministerio, todos están like, oh, vamos a visitar las ovejas. They're always on the ovejas, yendo a las casas, pasando tiempo en las casas con las ovejas. And then cualquier pastor veterano que ya pasó de 8 años para arriba, ya sabe de que va a escoger específico dónde quiere poner su atención y tiempo. Y obviamente si hay casos como funerales, hospital, que está teniendo un hijo, son casos que uno tiene que estar ahí, va representando como la iglesia.
Sí.
Pero, ¿por qué no visitamos la gente? Why don't we visit people?
Porque a veces se hacen muy dependientes, ¿es la palabra? O, ¿verdad? Dependientes de los pastores.
Yeah.
Se enamoran más del pastor que de Dios.
Yeah,
¿verdad? Y ponen su confianza en, el hombre. So, si algo llega a pasar, que el pastor por alguna X razón no llegó a verlos en una ocasión, ahí se enojan.
Se mueren, se molestan.
Se molestan y dicen, oh, el pastor. Entonces de verdad no estaba enamorado de Dios, estaba más confiando en el pastor que en Dios. Y uno no va a la iglesia porque, ¿verdad? Quiere ir a ver al pastor o quiere que no va a la iglesia porque uno ama de Dios. Y uno quiere aprender de Dios y quiere conocer más de Dios. Ese es mi punto de vista, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Yo digo que ese es mi punto de vista porque la gente depende mucho de los pastores. En los tiempos de antes dependía mucho de los pastores.
Yeah.
Y por eso nos damos cuenta que muchas familias pastorales en el tiempo de antes quebraban, ¿verdad? Los hijos de los pastores no estaban presentes o andaban en cosas metidas, ¿verdad? Y porque los pastores tomaban mucho tiempo en las ovejas. Y yo creo que el deber del pastor es simplemente darle de comer a las ovejas.
Yeah, I'm going to speak for an English, for an American pastor. Just being here in this country is it's just so hard. You have your kids you have to attend to. Your house is your first ministry, you know. And I heard today something interesting. Nick and Noah, he preached for 120 years, and people said nobody got saved, but his family got saved. They were in the ark. Ellos estaban en el arca. So it calls us to say de que los pastores podemos predicar por 120 años, pero los que deben estar en el arca con nosotros son nuestros hijos. Mm-hmm. You know, so it's such an interesting fact. Y eso es cierto. Because, yeah, they're obviously, you know, going to always be there for us, you know. Las ovejas no siempre van a estar ahí para nosotros.
Exactly.
Not always. No. El Señor los puede llamar a hacer su propio ministerio o se pueden ir a otra iglesia que... we're weird like that. Yo, por ejemplo, si se van, it's just like, los bendigo, ahí está la puerta abierta, come whenever you want, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But the beginning of a pastor calling, it's funny because a lot of people, si tú te vas a meter al pastorado, if you're going to get into pastorship for money, better ways to make money. I mean, do not do it for the money. Do not do it for the money. That's like the worst thing. We have a person, remember years back at another church that we used to go to, he raised himself up as a pastor, and I kind of could tell that he was all about the money. Mm-hmm. And then he basically started a church like that to the point where this guy wouldn't flush the toilet by himself. No echaba agua en la iglesia, en el baño, porque decía, eso no es trabajo de un pastor, eso es trabajo de siervo.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, that bad.
That's sad.
And he was really interested in the money and no miraba las finanzas. Él pensó que iba a estar, llena la iglesia y llena de finanzas. Y el tanto, like, hasta la mujer con quien estaba se divorciaron.
That is true.
They're divorced now.
Sí,
so I imagine you know who I'm talking about. But it's just like, no. Si es por dinero, that's the worst motive. Even though, a pesar que yo lo he dicho públicamente, que if you're an American pastor, like most of my American friends, they get like at least $60,000 a year to go pastor a church, and they starting with like about 100 members. You know what I mean? Which is, for me, it's like, you have to be careful. You're not doing it just for that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. For the money or for the position, and you're not fulfilling God's calling. You know, but everybody's different. That's just not our case. We've done everything living by faith, right?
We've done it like that. Sí, lo hemos hecho así, pero si te pones a pensar, es un full-time job.
It is a full-time job. I mean, you get everything from babysitters to...
Yeah, it's a full-time job, you know, y a veces no puedes dar todo porque tienes que trabajar.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
A veces no se puede dar todo porque se tiene que trabajar, porque si la iglesia te sustentara, fuera diferente.
Yeah, eso es cierto.
¿Verdad?
Yeah, and it's like, pero es mi hermano, I don't know, lo he oído en la iglesia, ¿va? Que, pero el pastor trabaja los sábados, ahora ya no hay tiempo para la iglesia, anda en las fiestas, and I'm like, okay, hermano, entonces usted sosténgame mi salario para darle comer a mis hijos y yo me quedo full-time pastor. Y el silencio habla de más. It just speaks more volumes, right? So it's like we have to work, and we have to provide for our families. That's just the way it is,
And I mean, no sé si habrá pastores hispanos que son full-time aquí en los Estados Unidos.
Sí, he oído casos. Yeah. He oído de casos de pastores que han llegado a lograr tener full-time posiciones, but it just seems so far-fetched. I mean, it's like los ejemplos que nosotros hemos visto, casi la mayoría tienen su propio negocio. And it's just like no viven 100% de la obra.
De la obra.
Like, hasta en Guatemala, en otros países, like fui un amigo pastor, he's just, él tiene su compañía de construcción y hasta la esposa tiene su propia compañía también. So it's like, Y él dice, like, ¿qué es eso? Full-time pastor. No sé qué es eso. Siempre debemos de tener una entrada aparte para... Yo creo que en sí es saludable tener una diferente entrada.
Yeah.
Porque es just like, ni te pueden criticar por, hey, por tomar
Por
tus
lo que
vacaciones,
tienes.
porque eso viene de mi trabajo, no de la iglesia, right? So, es interesante ese tema, ¿va? But there's so much to talk about that en realidad siendo pastor no es fácil. Hemos
¿Por
hasta
qué?
cruzado ríos.
¿Por qué
Ríos.
crees que a la gente no le gusta ver eso?
¿Qué?
Que el pastor sea full time y que no tenga más en la iglesia hispana, en la cultura hispana, porque a la gente no le gusta ver a su pastor trabajando full time en el ministerio y no tener un trabajo.
I just honestly like
¿Será por muchos
¿será?
pastores que
Bueno,
han dañado?
no, sí, ha sido por la trayectoria que la gente ha sido manipulada en sus finanzas para que den más a la iglesia y la iglesia mal usa los fondos. Tristemente todavía sucede en muchas iglesias hoy en día. Pero le tienes que dar vuelta a los dos lados de la tortilla. Tengo amigos pastores que tienen una iglesia de 120 en ciudades grandes y están pagando más de $10,000 de renta al mes. I'm like, do the math, hacer las matemáticas. Eso no queda para un chicle extra or anything, nothing, no queda para nada. So ahí tienen que entender ellos que no es justo, no, it's not fair at all para los pastores y por eso muchos se frustran y hasta dicen, porque siempre habla solo de los diezmos y todo, ¿va? Pero, y esto lo puedo decir yo claramente de que el 90% de la iglesia no diezma.
No.
El 90%, vos contás, yo ni siquiera conto las ofrendas, en mi caso ella cuenta las ofrendas y los diezmos, pero ni siquiera diezma el 90% de la iglesia. So you're like, it's just like, con el 10%, literalmente el 10% de la iglesia da el 10%. 10% of the church gives 10% of what the church earns. It's sad, pero es solo el 10% de los corazones agradecidos que en realidad no tienen avaricia en su corazón.
Sí, eso es lo que hemos visto. ¿Va?
Yeah.
No podemos hablar por otras.
No, we can't. I mean, it could be like I'm really, really bad about asking for money, like at the church. So, bien mala. Eso es just, hay gente que tiene don. Nunca se me olvida que llegó un salmista una vez a la iglesia y tenía ese don. Like, él tenía el don para que la gente diera. Ese día dieron anillos, dieron de todo. And I'm like, how? Like, how does he even have that gift? I wouldn't even say, like, I mean, alguna gente tiene ese don, but I'm just terrible about asking for money at church. And it's crazy because you see people,
I don't like it personally.
I know, we don't like it personally. We feel like God's going to provide.
Yeah.
He'll provide. But our setup is differently because we also told the Lord we want to not be dependent, worried about finances. You know what I mean? So, but it's interesante, ¿va? De que a veces los pastores hasta se mueren por esa frustración. Number one frustración de los pastores es las finanzas. Las finanzas, ¿va? It's crazy. No, todo tiene que ver con eso. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just if we had the resources to do the work, sería totalmente diferente.
Totalmente diferente.
Yeah, but
yeah.
What else do you want to say about pastors? I mean, I hope we're trying only one topic today, so that's it. That's all we got today. I don't have any other. If y'all have podcast topics that you guys want us to talk, let us know. I think a lot of people are interested on the calling of pastor. Like somebody might be going through a season where they're like, I think I've had like 3 people reach out to me over the years, like, hey, how did you know you're going to be a pastor?
Yeah.
It's almost like like when you say when our daughter asked, how do you know that somebody is the right for you? Yeah, what would advice would you give to somebody that's maybe thinking about the pastoral calling?
Es decir, el llamado se te dio a ti. Yo simplemente como esposa obedecí al llamado que Dios tenía para ti. Y en el camino Dios va aclarando el llamado para la mujer, you know.
Yeah.
Esa es mi opinión,
yeah.
Mi experiencia como esposa de un pastor. El Señor poco a poco va aclarando el llamado para la mujer, el propósito de la mujer en ese papel, ¿verdad? Pero el llamado se te dio a ti. Entonces yo como esposa solo obedecí a lo que Dios te dijo a ti. Y entonces yo dije, okay, si Dios te llamó and you feel at peace and you feel secure about this calling, let's do it. Let's do it, you know.
which was such a tough challenge for you. That nobody really ever talks about pastors' wives. You know what they go through, but it's almost like they have to do stuff, and it's like they were kind of forced into it. I think it really has almost the same thing as the president of the United States. You know what I mean? The wife didn't choose to be the wife of the president of the United States, but she also has an upstander that she has to hold, the kids as well, you know, and yeah.
I mean, I think como mujeres tenemos el deber de poder alentar al esposo de, ¿cuál es la palabra?
Animarlo,
de animar, ya, de animar al esposo y estar ahí presente en todas circunstancias, ¿verdad? En todo lo que pase, ¿verdad? Ese es nuestro deber y también poder ayudarlo, sentirse que cuando él se sienta mal, triste, nosotros estemos ahí para apoyarlo. Y de igual manera, yo creo que llega un punto en el que tienen que estar alineados los dos, porque si no están alineados, entonces es muy difícil que el esposo pueda llevar el ministerio solito. Y no es muy difícil, entonces tienen que estar alineados juntos los dos en un mismo sentir, en un mismo acuerdo. La comunicación es muy clave en el pastoreado, ¿verdad? Y la oración es muy clave también en el pastorado. Pero yo creo que como esposas, ¿verdad? De pastores, necesitamos mucha oración y como decíamos, ¿verdad? En el episodio anterior, estar conectadas con el Espíritu, ¿verdad? Uh-huh. Para que podamos estar alineadas con la visión, ¿verdad? Que Dios les da a cada uno de los pastores, ¿verdad? Yeah. Porque sí, la mujer puede destruir, puede destruir.
Let's talk about a case that we had. Llegaba un pastor a la iglesia a querer rentar de nosotros el local, and él llevaba algunas ovejas, llevaba como unas 7 personas or something, and llegaba a nuestra iglesia a como participar, estar ahí, no participar, pero solo estar ahí, va, y una de las ovejas se enamoró de la iglesia de nosotros, and she's just like, pastor, yo me quiero quedar en esa iglesia now con ellos, y con Pastor Jairo y Jamie, and then after él le dijo a ella, no, pero tú eres mi oveja. You're my sheep. You can't go with him. You have to go with me. Like I baptized you. And then after the one response she gave him was, si usted no puede ni jalar a su esposa, no me trate de jalar a mí. You know, don't even try. She's lo cuadro, you know. It's like, if your wife doesn't follow you, why do I have to follow you? Mm-hmm. I mean, he left him shut up. Like, he couldn't say nothing. Yeah. He couldn't say nothing. So it's like, it's really difficult. I really never like that because there is cases like, for example, nosotros usamos el término la pastora, right? De cariño, but honestly, like
no de cariño, sino que es pastor. It's kind of like obvio.
It's like an obvious thing.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but you know what the crazy thing is? Not very obvious. There's a lot of people out there that don't believe in pastores.
Que no les,
so like they're
no
just
creen.
like, no, la esposa del pastor. La esposa del pastor. Right?
It seems too long of
aclaremos muy bien eso. Si ella está haciendo la tarea y la obra de ministrar mujeres, de predicar, de, administrar la iglesia, ayudar en la administración de la iglesia, yo pienso que se merece el título también. Pero hay mujeres que sí no ayudan a su esposo para nada. Ellas sí se merecen el título de esposa de pastor, creo yo.
Sí, definitivamente.
Honestly, I believe it. Porque es como lo mismo que dijeron un doctor. Un doctor tiene su carrera, pero la esposa se va a llamar la esposa del doctor, no se va a llamar doctora, ¿va? Porque ella no se llama esposa. Por ejemplo, en este caso, si habláramos estudios, los dos nos graduamos en ese instituto de doctores de teología. Los dos practicamos la asesoría, que es la consejería, all that stuff, and we do it. So it's like she's doing the work. So en este caso, our church le dicen pastora, and I'm okay with that. Raquel was a pastor in the Bible, but yeah. And then after, I want to talk about how also the vision starts dark. God doesn't really give you like the whole, like where you're gonna go, the people you're gonna have. It's rough. Like, especially in the English church, man, wow. I think maybe somebody that's watching us on the podcast never really heard this, but I wanted to quit the English church several months ago, and somebody from Austin called me and said, hey, I had a dream about you. I saw you on the desk, and the Lord told me to tell you He's with you. Eres una antorcha, siga adelante, porque yo te he amado. So it's like, that's all I needed to hear to keep the ministry going, you know what I mean? And it's like, sometimes that's all we need to hear. Just, hey, God, the Lord's with us, right? Pero they don't tell you that the vision starts dark. And you know this with me because you suffer along my side, but you're tougher in that aspect. Like, you're like, well, we're going to keep going, you know what I mean? No matter what. And ella me ha animado a mí. Honestamente, she's really been a rock and like, no, it's okay. You know, like, honey, don't get depressed. Because yes, us pastors do get depressed. We do. We do pastor seasons of, we can pray. I've had several sermons where I preach an amazing sermon. Un espectacular sermón, predica. And then I come home and I'm depressed. Vengo a la casa y estoy deprimido. So it's, for us, it can almost be like on a dopamine rush. Preach, but then after baja otra vez, we have our low. So God is the God of the mountains and the valley. But like como tú dijiste, te preparan el camino, ¿va?
Yeah, son las inseguridades de que Satanás pone en los pastores, ¿verdad? Las inseguridades de que am I good enough?
Yeah.
Am I, you know, o hay personas que saben más que yo. Después de una predica, tú mismo empiezas a como a juzgar tu propia predica.
Oh, yeah.
Y tú mismo empiezas a decir, man, la verdad que no fue, you know, a good predica. And en el momento tú sentiste que Dios te estaba usando, pero después el enemigo viene y empieza a atacar tus inseguridades, ¿verdad? Entonces es algo muy, muy difícil, pero... Y antes de ir a ese punto que mencionaste, ¿tú crees que Moisés y su esposa estaban alineados o hubo comunicación entre ellos? Moisés le dijo, mira, voy a hacer esto, voy a regresar dentro de unos 20 años, porque después el suegro le trajo a la esposa y a sus hijos.
Como si se le olvidó de la esposa e hijos, va por andar ministrando.
Like, dude,
Like what happened, bro?
you know you have your wife and kids, right?
Yeah, Moses is a perfect example. Si nunca has oído esa story, you've never heard. She got so mad at Moses because Moses was teaching the Israelites to be circumcised, que se circuncidaran, pero él no había circuncidado a sus hijos en casa. So ella agarró el prepucio, she got the foreskin and threw it at his feet and said, "You're a husband of blood to me." Like, bro, you were having some serious marriage problems, Moses. You were like, you're a great pastor, but you're a horrible husband and a horrible father. So it's like, I understand Moses in a way. Sometimes we get caught up in the moment and what we're trying to do for the church. And I understand him in a way, but he was kind of a bad dad and bad husband, and he wasn't a good pastor. So we have to be pastors of our, and you know, that verse always hits us, pastor, always, all the time. Anybody in ministry, that ¿cómo puedes cuidar viñas de otros si no cuidas tu propia viña, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, porque imagínate que el suegro se la trajo, ¿verdad? Y
Yeah,
le
it's
dijo,
city.
Hey, you know,
Like, bro, don't forget your wife and kids, or you have them too.
By the way, te traje a tu esposa. You remember you had a wife? ¿Verdad? Es tremendo, ¿va?
That's
Me
crazy.
pregunto, ¿va? ¿Qué pasaría ahí, verdad? Que
Yeah.
no hubo esa... Y es que él estaba tratando de hacerlo todo.
Yeah,
Imagínate
exactly.
porque él se enojó también y fue ahí donde...
Bro, that's a whole nother thing right there. We've learned, and we're still learning, and this is a tough challenge for me. Maybe, and it's funny because I gave you advice and I didn't take it, right? But it's the delegar, el poder de delegación. Mm-hmm. You'll get frustrated, and it's so complicated because before you have to train somebody, and then when you train them, you show them what's right, how to do it, and then you leave them, and then sometimes they don't do it the way you want it to do. So it's like Moses, that's probably what is going on. But like one pastor for 600,000 people,
He was killing himself.
way. No way. So his suegro, his father-in-law, Jethro, was just like, yo, you have to get leaders. Tienes que poner líderes. You have to have help. You can't do this by yourself. And then he did. That's when he put like 40 elders, you know, to be there.
But it's crazy, you know, porque ahorita que dices eso es...
It's great teaching. There's a good teaching there.
A veces la gente piensa que el pastor has it together.
Yeah, for sure.
A veces la gente piensa que el pastor tiene que tener ese... Oh, ¿y el Señor no le dijo esto?
Yeah.
You know? O like, oh, el Espíritu Santo no le avisó que tal y tal cosa.
Yeah.
Like Moisés didn't know what to do until el suegro le dijo.
Yeah,
Le
absolutely.
dijo, mira, hey, tienes que... Y Moisés estaba conectado con Dios.
Mm-hmm.
Pero él nunca se dio cuenta que él necesitaba ayuda.
Yeah, like you need help, dude. That's crazy though. Thanks for the teaching. If I ever preach to some pastors, that's the perfect preaching. It really is.
Sí, porque en realidad
It's amazing.
te digo, mucha gente piensa que uno como pastores, ¿verdad? Como cuando dicen, ¿verdad?
Que somos Superman.
Ajá, o ore usted por mí. O está, ¿verdad?
Yeah, like, usted
Estas
está más
personas
cerca de Dios. Usted está más cerca
que
de Dios.
quieren que todas las personas que oren por uno. Pero es que uno no tiene ese, ¿verdad? Usted también lo puede tener.
Yeah, yeah.
You know? Simplemente porque uno son los pastores, no significa de que ellos son Superman.
Yeah, oh, it's happened many times, you know, no miramos un hermano en no meses y después lo miramos en un mall, H-E-B o algo, y después he wants to set up a confessional right there in H-E-B or something like, oh, es que lo que pasa es que yo estaba apartado por esta razón, and I'm just like, dude, decirle a Dios, you know, get back right with God. He's the one that you have to be right standing with,
Sí.
¿va?
Y
No yo.
muchas personas que se han apartado del Señor saben qué hacer.
Yeah, yeah.
They know what to do.
Yeah, they do.
They know what to do.
They play victim. Sadly, most of them will be in that situation that they're in. Hopefully, the Lord gets them out. Pero porque no han cambiado su mentalidad. No han cambiado su mentalidad y no han entregado su corazón a Dios. So, yeah, it's a choice.
It's a choice. ¿Tú quieres estar así o no quieres estar así?
Pero lo que estaba viendo también, okay, so están los que medio andando las fuerzas. Están los que, tambalean, se van al mundo, regresan. Solo llegan a la actividad cuando hay comida, solo llegan a la iglesia cuando hay comida o algo especial. Then tenemos la gente medio que es just like, que dan medio pie, medio servicio. Habla de aquellos que dan medio servicio. ¿Qué tal, Leos?
¿Cómo así? No te entiendo.
Medio servicio, solo dan la mitad. Like, ellos cumplen con llegar a la iglesia, pero no dan más allá.
Ok.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, hay gente que en realidad no está comprometida.
No. They're just like, saben contar, no cuente conmigo.
Sí, no está comprometida, ellos simplemente van a escuchar. Bueno, a medio escuchar, porque cuando se van, ellos hacen lo que quieran.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
You know?
O les dice el consejo y le entra por un oído y sale el otro.
Sí, no están comprometidos en realidad, no han entregado su corazón, su voluntad al Señor. Y a veces la gente quiere que uno que ustedes como pastores hagan cambiar a la gente. Y uno no es el que cambia a la gente.
No, not at all.
Si la palabra de Dios no está cayendo en buena tierra, si tú no tienes buena tierra en tu corazón, I'm sorry, my friend, pero nunca va a haber un cambio.
Nada va a pasar.
Nada va a pasar. Y simplemente estás endureciendo tu corazón,
Yeah.
¿verdad? Y lo más triste es que si tú sigues endureciendo tu corazón, después el Señor va a endurecer tu corazón como lo hizo con el faraón.
Yeah, that's true. Or you might end up sadly como Sansón, que no hizo caso y después terminó atado. It's crazy because then after, y obviamente esto va para todos, va hasta los firmes, miren que no caiga. Now let's talk about those faithful ones. There's something like, yo siempre me pregunto el otro día, como mi pastor asistente, con personas que tú sabes que verdaderamente son fieles a la obra, que aman al Señor. Pueden fallar, pero porque son humanos. Pero, ¿qué es el click? ¿Qué es en la persona el click? Que de pasan a ser regular oveja a ser una persona súper fiel al Señor. What's that click? Like, what's the secret sauce? I still don't know to this day. Hasta nosotros, like how we were like siempre apoyando a nuestro pastor en full ministerio, and we weren't even pastors yet. I think it's just people that God sets aside with a purpose or something. I don't know.
Pero I think it's the choice that you
it's
make.
A choice. Yeah, you just decide to make God your priority.
Yeah, because I mean, desde que yo era joven, yo decía, okay, yo voy a buscar quién me va a llevar a la iglesia.
Yeah.
That was my choice. Él me decía.
Yeah.
Cuando nos casamos y...
Que siempre usamos esa excusa hoy en día que nuestro pastor no nos buscaba. We always say that.
Yeah, I mean...
no nos buscaba.
They were never behind us telling us, hey, vayan... No, like...
Nosotros teníamos el deseo de ir.
You know, like, he never met my parents. Él nunca conoció a mis papás. Never. Pero eso no... It didn't bother me.
Yeah.
You know? Y ni le molestó a mis papás tampoco.
No, exacto.
You know? So, es una choice. Even cuando nos casamos, choice, ¿cómo se dice en español choice?
Decisión.
Nuestra decisión, se me fue la onda. Nuestra decisión, llegamos del trabajo, cambiémonos, agarremos a la niña, yo la cambiaba rapidito, let's go.
Y nos íbamos.
Era nuestra decisión.
Yeah,
y es simplemente porque sabemos, para mí es, hey, God, you've given me everything.
Yeah, he's a priority. He's a priority.
Tú me has dado todo, ¿cómo yo no te voy a dar lo que tú me has dado?
Yeah, he's a priority. So,
Yeah.
And alguien dirá, well, qué fanáticos, qué fanáticos. Pero si Dios nos entregó su vida, ¿cómo no dedicarle, 2 servicios a la semana. 2 servicios.
Aquí.
2 servicios.
Aquí.
Aquí.
Aquí en los Estados
Allá
Unidos.
en otros países le dan todos los días. Like every day, they're like pretty much at church. So it's just like, you know, and there's so many things que hemos aprendido sobre los años. Like, nosotros no tratamos de cargar a la gente anymore. Nuestra regla es, si son solteros, que pueden ir a 2 servicios, pero si están casados, ni los quiero ver cerca de los 2 servicios. Because it's like, you have priorities too. You have things to do at the house. So I'm like, I think now too, like our church, what do they do on Saturdays? What do they do on Saturdays? And it's like, so now that I work weddings and quinceañeras on Saturdays, I can no longer go to birthday parties of the church. I'm happy about that. I might be a bad pastor. I'm a bad pastor. I must be a bad pastor, because the honest truth, I'm like, who said that it's necessary, like the pastors have to be at these birthday parties? You know, it's like, literally, we could just go for an hour, show face, and leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because it's like, we got stuff going on, you know what I mean? Like, in our lives, our kids and stuff, you know what I mean? So it's like, do you like to be at those birthday parties, really?
Honestly, no.
No, honestly, no?
No. Because hay mucha familia,
Yeah.
you know, y a veces yo siento que cuando llegan los pastores, they feel the pressure, sienten la
Yeah.
presión de ser diferente.
Yeah.
Y yo no quiero que sean así.
Yeah.
Like, si nosotros llegamos, actúen como ustedes actúan.
Normal, sí.
Normalmente, like, no tienen que hacer nada diferente, no nos tienen que hacer sentir especial ni nada. Like, we're just regular people that were invited.
Bueno, nuestra congregación, por lo menos, espero que hayan aprendido algo. I'm just like, be yourself. Like, tú quieres bailar, dance, do your thing. Because I'm not going to judge you. No te voy a juzgar por eso. Incluso, like, en nuestra propia familia, we know this. My family, they drink, they have fun, they dance. It's totalmente normal entre ellos, ¿va? So, yo trato de no mezclar la iglesia con mi familia. I just don't, because it's 2 different worlds, right? And it's like, if they were to be mixed, guess what? We're people. We're human beings too.
Ajá, es que eso
Yeah.
ese es el problema. O sea, en la iglesia tiene que saber uno diferenciar,
Yeah.
right? Si estás en la iglesia, se tiene que respetar.
Yeah.
Si no estás en la iglesia, yes, se tiene que respetar también, pero just be you, like.
Be authentic and be genuine.
Yeah, there's no need. Y por eso a veces no me gusta ir, porque cambian totalmente.
Yeah, they're just totally different, yeah.
Totalmente. Y a mí no me gusta. He llegado a fiestas de que te miran así como, oh, ya llegaron los pastores de aquellos.
Yeah, it's hipocresía. It's just like, come on.
No, like la gente, los familiares que no
Oh,
son
los familiares,
cristianos.
great.
Like, oh, ya llegaron.
Great, no puedo hacer
vamos
lo
a
que
poder,
hacen.
ajá, exacto. Y a mí no me gusta eso.
Yeah.
Like,
Great, ya no vamos a poder bailar la chona.
like, ellos no saben de que yo me río, yo soy payasa y yo soy loud
Yeah.
cuando me río, you know, and they don't know that, you know, y a veces no me gusta eso. Yo quisiera que fueran normal, iguales, como normal, gente normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why I just think like there's a lot of hypocrisy, because it's like en sus casas son una y la iglesia son otra. And it's just like, that's why I'm like, why do you dress like this on the street and then you dress like this at church? That's what I was telling you the other day. I was like, just dress how you want to dress. Vístete como te quieras vestir, because todos modos, you know, vas a ser uno en todos lugares que vas. But it's one of those things, right? Pero, yeah, that was interesting right there. Eso está
Pero eso
interesante.
yo
lo
creo
estás
que va
hablando
mucho
ahorita.
con la cultura hispana.
Yeah, con la cultura hispana. I think a majority de que estamos hablando de la cultura hispana, we're just so new to the English world. In the American church, we're just barely growing it. We had such a blessing this Sunday. We're in the morning praying with the men, 8 in the morning, and my prayer was very specific. It was like, Lord, bring young people that have like they have business sense. They all have a desire to serve you. They can aportar and bring help to the church. And then 2 young couples came in, walked in that Sunday. There was nobody else either. It was like just my sister out of like the 3 families that normally go. So I was like, perfect. Like the Lord's so great, because it's like, I probably would have been depressed that Sunday, and it's so sad because like it's hard to preach to an audience of 1.
But
You know
you're
what I mean?
not preaching to an audience of 1.
Yeah, I ain't. I know that. I know it's especially like online. We know that online there's people listening.
Yeah.
There's
You're
people
not
listening.
preaching to just one person.
I know. It's so hard though. It's so hard for us pastors. It's tough.
And
We struggle with that. I struggle with that. a
the
little bit.
Canadian church, They're pretty faithful.
She's faithful. Yeah. She's probably watching this. What's up? What's up? What's up, Alejandra?
We still have to go there. I've told you.
Yeah, I think we have to plant a church in Canada. I feel like the Lord's going to lead us to Canada one day. So Canada, there's a church coming one day. So
definitely.
we're praying that the Lord will hopefully one day
Open doors.
bless us with financial resources to be able to do that one day.
We
Be able
will.
to plant. So never know. Maybe the Lord wants to build a church over there in
I've been wanting
Canada.
to go to Canada y no me llevas.
Yeah, and we're gonna go. We're gonna have to go. Banff, Canada, Alberta. You guys, where you guys gonna plant it? The church. So we have family in Alberta now. I think that's the Lord's calling for us. We gotta go visit. We'll go
How's
maybe
Alberta?
springtime.
¿Cómo es ahí?
I don't know. I'm just figuring mountains maybe.
Oh, no sé.
I've never
Ahí
been.
no
I don't
conoces?
think I've ever been. I think maybe I've been to Quebec. Maybe I don't. Saskatchewan, other places, but I've never been there. I think.
Porque ustedes vivieron en dónde?
We're in Toronto, Canada,
Oh,
the
Toronto.
city of Toronto.
¿Qué tan far?
Oh, hours. I think
yes.
they're like 8 hours away. I think.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really far.
No, está-
So, but Canada's a beautiful country. It's just too cold. It's too cold.
Mira, ahorita que
But
está...
now that our life's different, like if I could do something besides photography that's indoor, I mean, I wouldn't mind working on a computer and watching the snow out the window. Honestly, if I can get some kind of like business where I was like on a computer, still, it's just like I don't know. At this point in my life, I don't think I could ever go back to being a regular job.
You could do the social marketing, social media stuff.
Yeah, social media marketing, possibly. Yeah,
You could do that
yeah.
because you're a lot in en las redes and
Yeah.
and you know a little bit of that. I'm sure que hay más que tendrías que aprender, but I think you could do that.
Yeah, maybe that would be cool. That's
Ahorita estaba pensando que se puso bien callado. A ver si no se oye la secadora
yeah.
en
Secadora.
el live.
Oh, really? Oh, that's true. Was it,
It was on.
Oh, man. Sorry, guys. We had the secadora on, and that thing's loud. It, like, shakes the house sometimes, because we live, like,
Well,
in
that's la
it's a
lavadora.
manufactured house, so it does shake the house. And
But anyways.
or our kids screaming, because Benji, he doesn't have voice right now, but whenever he's playing Fortnite or whatever he's playing, he's just screaming his head off. And I get him. I mean, I was once a teenage kid, too, so I would always be screaming, like, ah.
I used to cuando jugaba Nintendo.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Mi
Yeah.
hermana jugaba Nintendo y brincaba con Super Mario. She was like,
Jump with as you do the action.
yeah.
Yeah.
You know, cuando tenía que brincar ese gap, she was like, go like that.
Yeah. Well, also, it was more FIFA. We'd get mad if we lose and stuff, throwing controllers and stuff like that. But yeah, it's crazy. But yeah, back to the whole pastoral thing. It's really rough. I mean, some pastors, and we know this all the time. You hear it all the time that if your church is small, the Lord may call you to pastor 13 people. You know what I mean? That doesn't make you less of a pastor than somebody that has 1,000. Because of those 1,000 people, there might just be a close circle of 20 people. So he's pastoring a 20-member church, but really sowing the seed to 500 on a Sunday. You know what I mean? So it's like, because not todos van a ser fieles. So it's like, no matter, it's crazy, right? If you think about it, 500-member church still can only be 20 people because it's the people that surround you. That's the ministry, you know what I mean? So it's like, that's wild to think that. It's wild to think that.
Yeah, I wonder las iglesias en realidad, las grandotas, ¿verdad? Me imagino que cada día tienen nuevas personas.
Yeah. That's true. They
O
probably have new
personas
people
que
going-
simplemente solo van a visitar porque han escuchado, de la iglesia y
Yeah.
solo van a visitar y se van.
What's so funny is, yeah, that's crazy. That's a whole nother season. Maybe the Lord will permit us to get there one day. It's funny, like the pastor, they'll be like, oh, he'll ask, like, what member of what church are you? And they'll be like, I'm a member of this church. Oh, I'm sorry, I never really saw you around, like, or I don't know, I've never seen you. That must be crazy, like, have ovejas that you don't even know you pastor. That's crazy, right? Like, that's like famous people when they impact and influence people, and they don't even realize that they're influencing people, right? That's why I'm like, okay, we're doing this, and we maybe got 20 views per podcast right now, but who really knows? Like, I had a thought this afternoon, like, somebody might be watching this that, they might invite us to a conference somewhere around the world, in Miami or whatever, you know what I mean? You never know. So who knows who's watching? Whoever's watching, hello. And thank you guys for being here. Comment, like, and subscribe for sure. But I wonder if people actually watch to this point. Do you think people watch to this point?
I don't know.
If you've reached to this point, if you're listening to this point,
Thank you.
please comment, because we need to know. Like, I don't think we've gotten one comment on YouTube yet.
No.
I don't think we've had our first comment yet. No, that's crazy. It's like, I felt like it was easier or better when I put it on the Facebook, because the actual
Oh.
Yeah, but it wasn't driving people to YouTube. And the thing is, you want to drive people to YouTube. So I'm not doing this for money. We're doing this for the pleasure of having a podcast.
Yeah, I was just talking to people and
Sharing our life experience. Sharing our life experience, our
Man,
wisdom.
se me están olvidando las palabras.
Sharing our life experience, wisdom, and all that good stuff.
Exacto.
But if somebody's feeling the call to the pastoral calling, que en el obispado, buena obra sea, what you really, if you desire that, that's a good thing, because the work is much and few are the people that are workers. You know what I mean? That's what the Bible says. So it's like, if the Lord's calling you to be a pastor, please call us. Please call us. I would love to give you pastoral advice, help out in whatever we can. You know what I mean? But yeah, I think, is there anything else you want to say about pastorship or stuff? And
Yeah, I think that, just hang in there, que ponga su confianza en el Señor y que definitivamente primero es la familia, que no se envuelva mucho, ¿verdad?, en olvidarse de la familia y que el Señor va a ir proveyendo poco a poco, ¿verdad? Que los deseos del corazón desde del pastor, ¿verdad?, Dios va a proveer.
yeah,
Dios
absolutely.
va a proveer absolutamente. Si se van unos, Dios sabe, ¿verdad? A veces decimos, what did I do wrong? ¿Por qué se fue, verdad? A veces decimos eso, ¿qué estamos haciendo mal? ¿Estamos haciendo algo mal?
We have a case that happened recently. I don't remember if I told you, but we had somebody leave the church, and we're just like, no news. No, they didn't tell us why they left. Nothing. Just left us in the dark. We're like, oh, why? What happened? What happened?
Yeah.
What did we do wrong? Did I say something wrong? Do I need to apologize? And I did apologize, sent a text, and still ghosted me. He straight ghosted me. And then I saw them at an event. Recently. Go up to them. Hey, guys, what's up? We're roasting marshmallows and everything. And I'm just like, yeah, so, I'm just, wherever you guys are going, I just hope that you're seeking God and going to another church. And he's like, yeah, we actually are going to another church. We're going to a church that's next door to us. Like the next door neighbor opened up a church, and they're helping apoyando that church. They're helping that church. So I'm just like, well, thank God. At least now finally a response. But here's something I do want to say to the sheep. If you're going to leave, at least like, just say goodbye. Say goodbye. Say goodbye, for God's sakes. If you're going to leave the church, say goodbye.
Yeah.
So would you just don't leave us guessing? That's such a bad feeling.
It's really bad
It's
porque
such a-
como pastores,
But
no,
dude, pero
el estrés
falta
que
de
lo ponen a
carácter.
uno. Yeah.
It's just like they lack
Lo
character.
deprimen más a uno.
They lack character, because to be like, just to be a respectful person and just respect and manners is, hey, you know what? We're no longer going to come here, but thank you for the time we were here. Like okay, that's okay. Not every. I've come to peace that not everybody is going to like my vision, is going to agree with me. I realize that some people like more traditional, more structured, more religious, more set. I understand that. We're just not like that. We're just here. We preach, be genuine, authentic, and love like Christ loves, so that we can bring them to Jesus. That's our vision.
Yeah.
It's our vision. But that might not be everybody's vision. Their vision might be, hey, wear a suit and tie and act righteous and be formal and have respect for the house of the Lord, and that's just not our vision. It's just not us. You know what I mean? Just not us. But yeah, well, I don't even know what else to say.
Yeah. No, just have respect and say bye,
Yeah, at least be like, bye. Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like que las personas que le das más son los que se terminan yendo. Al contrario, las personas que no les das tanto son los que se quedan
Yeah.
más fieles.
I've learned this with the new people. Wait about a month. Just don't even say anything yet. Like, don't try to get all hyped up because it's a first love. You know what I mean? Because then they'll disappear.
Yeah.
If they disappear, then it's almost like kids, like raising kids. Don't set yourself up for failure, because there will be deception. Like they might not stay there. So you're just like, don't fall in love with the sheep. And I'm gonna say this in English: we're like eunuchs, that we can't fall in love with the bride of Christ because they belong to Christ. They don't belong to us as pastors. So just let them be themselves. Let them be, and they choose where they want to go serve the Lord. And if it just happens to be your church, well, you're lucky. The Lord's blessed you.
Yeah.
But other than that, it's so tough to be a pastor. Honestly, I pray for my pastor friends. It's not an easy challenge. You know what I mean? It's really tough. So, but the seeds that we plant today, we might harvest 10 years later,
Amen.
Another thing that too, I want to say this. I don't even know if I should say this, but it bothers me. It bothers me that sometimes like people will be like, "Oh, why don't you get like a big sign outside? You know, it says your church." And I'm like, you realize everything costs money, right?
Yeah.
But then after you see them spend thousands and thousands of dollars on their own personal things, and then I'm just thinking in the back of my head, Habakkuk would say, "You're taking care of your own house, and you have forgotten about the Lord's house." You know what I mean? So it's like I feel like the Lord will convict people of that because that's not right either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it all has to do with your heart. There's a business about human hearts. That's a tough business.
Yeah.
That's a tough business.
It is. It really is. It's really hard.
The business of human hearts. That's
El corazón del humano es
is
duro.
duro. It's hard, and I'm not saying you. I'm saying we.
Yeah,
are
el
like
humano en
that.
general.
We are tough. You know,
Yeah.
we seek the Lord cuando estamos en las situaciones difíciles. You know what I mean? So, oh man, I've even seen people in hospital beds dying, saying, "Lord, if you get me out of this, I'll serve you." And then the Lord heals them, and they're nowhere to be found.
Yeah.
Like, bro, how do you just lie to God like that? How do you say, like, God, if you heal me, I'll serve you. Te voy a servir, Señor, si me sanas de esta cama hospital. Y después no lo sirves. Bro, you gotta be a jerk to do that. I'm sorry, but you gotta be a jerk to lie to God like that. I think that's blasphemy with the Holy Spirit. I think it's a level of blasphemy.
That's sad.
And sure enough, that lady died.
It's sad.
She's dead. She's not here. The Bible says it's better not to promise if you're not gonna, fulfill that promise than actually to promise.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy, right? That's, I think that's deeper, right? The Lord said, "You promised me and you didn't keep your promise, so I'm gonna take you away." It's crazy. Lady's
sad.
dead, bro. She's dead. She's dead. Wow, we got to be careful what we promise. But anyways, I think that's pretty much good for today's podcast. I want to thank you guys for watching. I feel like there's always more that could be said, even though we said a lot about pastoral today. But I feel like we still have so much more we could talk about this topic. Maybe there'll be like an episode 2 to pastoral stuff.
Yeah, we can do an episode 2.
Yeah, probably an episode 2. I think we have a lot to cover here. This is huge, talking about pastoral. So, anything else you want to say, or is that good?
I'm good.
Oh, she's good. She's good. We're out. So Kiko, say bye real quick. Look
knocked
at this
out.
guy.
He's
Bro,
not down.
it's funny because I positioned him to be very formal and sat properly.
But he knows
And
already.
he ends, look at him, he ends lying down like completely upside down. So he's always like the center of focus around here. But we'll see you guys later. Viviendo Life Podcast number 9.
Bye.